What's up, people? Lucky Bastards asks, best stack to replicate as best as possible, Dexedrine, Ritalin, etc., if there's anything that even comes close to pharma speed. This is a very good question. Very good question for somebody who's interested in nootropics. Nootropics being smart drugs, or like, I guess you could call them drugs, like non-narcotic drugs, like not recreational drugs that improve cognition or some other area of like mental performance. This is a very good question because in terms of actual performance, nothing really beats amphetamines. Sorry, like that's the king. Straight up, like as of yet, in my experience, and I've tried more than 99.9% of people out there, like totally confident saying that nothing comes close to amphetamines. Or maybe there's other, from what I understand, there's other like research chemicals. I'm just going to make a quick note about this, not going to make a video about this, but there's other like research chemicals that are stimulants that will give you a similar result, but only because amphetamines are stimulants, and the stimulant is really what is giving you the benefit. Anyway, whatever. Nothing comes close to amphetamines. Specifically, in my experience, Adderall was the best. And for those of you who've never taken Adderall, you know, or you probably know that it's prescribed to people that have ADD. And the thing to, I guess, people who don't know any better or don't do any research on it is that ADD is really just people who are not able to concentrate. They're hyperactive, and when you take Adderall, for example, it calms you down and you're able to study. No, that's actually not what it is in my experience, because I'm a super chill dude. Like, I don't think anybody would look at me and be like, he's hyperactive, he needs Adderall to calm down. Definitely not, right? Definitely not. And I have no problem sitting and concentrating and focusing on something for several hours at a time without Adderall, let's say. But in the past, when I have taken Adderall, I notice an incredible effect when it comes to studying. Specifically, when I read something, I remember all of it. Like what I used to do when I was in college is I would go to class. I would take notes sometimes. Wouldn't do any homework. Wouldn't do any assignments. Or I did this for some classes, right? Some of the classes you didn't have to go to class. You didn't have to take notes. There were no assignments, and you were only really graded on how you performed on the midterm and how you did on the final. So what I would do is I wouldn't do anything, right? I was like, I don't even know what I was doing. Getting into trouble probably. And the weekend before the midterm, or the day before, or 2 days before, I would take some Adderall and I would sit down and I would read the entire textbook, or I would read the sections that were assigned to us, assuming all of the information was in there, right? I would read those and I would remember everything for the final or for the midterm. I would read it once and I would remember it. Like if you've never done that before, it's hard to kind of convey how miraculous that is, to sit and read something once and remember it perfectly so that you can ace the test. I'm a good test taker anyway. It's never been a problem of mine. I'm not one of these people that like studies really hard and knows everything and then goes bombs on the test. Like, definitely not. I was always the first one done when I took a test, even when I didn't take Adderall. Side note, just because when you go to take a test, it's multiple choice. Either you know the answer or you don't. If you don't know the answer, you move on to the next question. I don't understand why it's so hard for people. Anyway, whatever. So coming back, nothing really beats that. There's nothing in my experience that has ever given me that effect, really. However, there are, if you combine certain nootropics, there are certain combinations in my experience that will allow you to kind of approach that and give you benefits in other ways that will help you. Let's call it study for a test. Let's call that the metric, or the test that we're doing. The test is how well can you study for a test, if that makes sense. Anyway, and really quick before we go on, like the downsides of amphetamines are very bad, right? Like in my experience, at least, you don't eat, number one. It's very hard to work out. You do have energy, but you only have energy on the first day. If you take them for consecutive days, you're completely gassed. You have like no strength, no energy. You lose so much weight because you can't eat. I was never able to eat on them, even on like a 10 milligram of Adderall dose. I would take it in the morning, do my thing all day, and then at night, like I couldn't put food into my mouth. It just felt disgusting to me. So you lose a lot of weight, you don't sleep, you don't eat, which maybe sounds good to some of you. It's a great diet, by the way. Like you want to drop a couple pounds, like pop an Adderall. 2 days later, you're going to be, I don't know if you're going to be looking good. This video is just about Adderall. My love of Adderall. Haven't taken it in years. Kind of wish that I could get some sometimes, just to like if I want to like, okay, another fun fact. This video is turned into like best nootropic stack to replace Adderall. And it's just like me talking about how awesome Adderall is. When I was studying to become a personal trainer, right? I think I was like 20 years old. I took the way that it worked back then. I think I've told this story before, where you like pay your money to the like certification company, and you have two options. They send you this like fat textbook, and you have to learn the textbook, and you can either take a test online, like anytime you want, or you can go to a proctor and take a test like in person. So what I did is I took a test. Well, okay, so I took it. All right. Anyway, they sent me the book, and basically what I did, I was like, oh, it's a book that I need to memorize everything. I'll just take Adderall. That's kind of how I approached it. And I took Adderall for a week, and I would study this book, and I would like write little notes like in the margins. And I read the entire book in a week and memorized everything in the book, right? So I went and took the test, like a 97, and that's how I learned everything about being a personal trainer. Obviously, I've learned stuff since then. It was a long time ago. But just to give you an idea, not like I had no idea going in, there's a lot of stuff about anatomy, bones, ligaments, like, different metabolic processes that, to be fair, I don't really remember them now, or maybe I've forgotten that I learned them then. I just take it for granted that I learned them then. But yeah, it was very effective way to learn it. And actually I learned it so well that I would take the test for other personal trainers where I was working at the time, because back then you could get a job as a trainer without being certified. Like they wanted you to be certified, but if you weren't, you could still get a job. Now it's a little bit more tightened up where you have to be certified, at least at most gyms. And I would take the test for them and pass the test for them by doing the online test. Anyway, the downsides of Adderall are no good. If possible, better to replicate it with something else. So that said, what is the best stack for doing that? Okay, I'm going to tell you right now. Now, the best stack, you're never going to get anything that will give you that immediate recall. Okay, I've never found anything that'll give you an immediate recall, unfortunately. If anybody has something, please let me know. I'm like happy, I'll try it, But what you can do is give you something that will allow you to get in the zone and to read a lot or study a lot about whatever it is you want to study about, and will give you energy to actually study. Okay, so the bare minimum of this stack is going to be modafinil and centrophenazine, and I would say maybe Nootropics, right? That's kind of like the bare minimum of what you want, right? Modafinil is very good because it'll give you long-lasting, clean energy throughout the day. If you can't get modafinil, get adrafinil. There's something called armodafinil. It's okay, but it doesn't last quite as long. And in my experience, like maybe about a week or so ago, I started taking adrafinil because I was going to go back to work. I was going to go to this thing in Canada. Anyway, I was going to go back to work, and the past, I guess, the past 2 times I've done this job. Anyway, long story short, I perform better, I sell more, I have more energy, I feel better when I use modafinil or adrafinil in this job. So anyway, I bought this for Canada, and I didn't go, obviously, or I went and came back, but I've been taking 300 milligrams of adrafinil every single day. Way more energy, like obscene amounts of energy. Like I have so much energy that like at the end of the day, I'm like, that's it. That's all I did today. Like I need to do more. Number one, adrafinil. It'll like, you get a nice little boost in the first maybe 2 or 3 hours. And then after that, the boost kind of comes down a little bit, but you still have very clean, long-lasting energy throughout the day. It's almost like having a cup of coffee that lasts all day with no real come down, in my experience. Great for workouts, great for like just being sharp verbally and like knowing what to say in social situations, another good thing. So that's definitely like, I would say the base, right? Centrophenazine I also really like because that will allow you to get into the zone. Okay, when you take those two together, whenever they kick in, you will kind of like get so deep into the zone, like you can call it tunnel vision if you want, but you'll get so deep into the zone that whatever you're doing, when those things kick in, you'll be so deep in the zone that it'll be hard for you to kind of pull yourself away. So like on the one hand, this can be very good if you're studying, if you have your textbook in front of you, or whatever you want to learn, if you have that in front of you. But if you're on Reddit, for example, or you're just like, I don't know, whatever, browsing some other social media site, you're going to sit there and like obsessively browse that site for hours. Okay. So just keep that in mind. So modafinil, centrophenazine, and then I would say either Noopept or some other racetam. Aniracetam is good. Anyway, I don't want to get too complicated into those because those are, I kind of want to say they're hit or miss. Noopept is very stable in my opinion because the dose is very small and it gives a very slight boost with no real downside. Whereas the potential downside for, let's say, aniracetam is that it makes you a little bit more mellow, which is good. Like I used to take it when I was editing books, right? Or when I wrote a book back in the day and I went over it obsessively to edit it. And it was very good for that because it improves your verbal recall by a lot. So I wouldn't have to think too much when I'm editing something like, oh, what word do I want to say here? Oh yeah, that's right, that word. Instead of like taking that extra 5 or 10 seconds to think of whatever word it was. Piracetam, like the basic piracetam, is also good, but it can make you irritable. Always makes me irritable. And if you have the money, primaracetam is very good. It's like much more powerful than any of the other ones, in my opinion. It's just expensive is the problem. But that's really it. I have not found anything to make your memory good, really, like on that same level as amphetamines. If I were to find something like that, I would be like a genius at this point. As it stands now, I occasionally will like comment to somebody or like just casually remark that like, yeah, I would like to just get a bunch of Adderall and lock myself away for like a month and learn something, learn another language or learn anything in the same way that I learned that personal training tidbit. I random side note, I bought some Ritalin when I was in Indonesia because I'd never tried it before and I was trying to get Wellbutrin, but they didn't have it and they gave me Ritalin instead. Somehow you can buy Ritalin in Indonesia. Like countries like super against amphetamines, but you can buy Ritalin. It's kind of retarded. Haven't tried that yet. Maybe I'll try it. I don't know. It's low dose. Also Wellbutrin is very good, but that's just kind of like, the reason Wellbutrin is good is because it makes it easier for you to do the things that you don't want to do, right? Like a lot of times if I were to start something without taking Wellbutrin, be like, you start and you're like, oh, this is so stupid. I can't believe I have to do this. It's so boring. I fucking hate this. I'd rather be doing something else. Wellbutrin kind of eliminates that, which is good in the sense that it'll allow you to do things that you don't want to do, but know you probably should, but bad in the sense that maybe it'll make it too easy for you to do those things that you don't want to do, and then you don't actually go and pursue the things that you do want to do. Okay, so bottom line, at the bare minimum, modafinil, or if you can't get modafinil, you don't have a prescription, get adrafinil and centrophenazine. Both of those you can get from Nootropics Depot. No, this is not sponsored. No, this is not like paid. I like them. I actually reached out to them. I was like, hey, like I rep you guys all the time. Do you want to, send me free products? I'll review them for you. And they're like, no, we're not doing that right now. Anyway, whatever. Nootropics Depot, they have pretty much the best price, always have good quality. They're really good. So go buy from them or buy from wherever you want. Yeah, centrophenazine and adrafinil and aracetam. I would recommend Noopept. It's not technically a racetam, but whatever. Go buy that. Okay, so thank you, lucky bastards, for the question. If you guys have any other questions about nootropics, let me know. Leave me a comment. Obviously, I recommend other stuff as well in terms of the total stack, but this is, I guess, the bare minimum for replicating like the effects of, amphetamines in terms of studying, which I think is what the question was for. Okay, so let me know. Leave me a comment. Peace.